Welcome back, everybody. Robert with Occupancy Boost. Have you ever had your property in a sold out position only to come in the next day and disappointingly find out that you still had rooms available to sell? If you have, then this video is for you. I'm going to show you a live example of a similar situation that happened to me and what you can do to prevent this from happening to you. Stay tuned. I'm going to switch screens and show you this and a lot more. Okay, I want to give you guys an example of, this actually happened, and I kind of saved the screenshots of this. So let me show you an example of what happened and why I'm doing this video. This happens more often than it should. This particular hotel, this is what I was looking at for this property, one night. It showed the property at 91% occupancy. This top number is what you want to pay attention to, the numbers in black. The numbers in green below are the numbers from last year on the same day. So we're paying attention to the black number. So the occupancy for this hotel was 91%, and it had one room, this circled area, had negative one room remaining. So they were oversold by one room. Now, the reason the property wasn't at 100% is because they have 6 rooms out of order. So basically, they didn't have any rooms left to sell. In fact, they were short a room. They had one room remaining. Okay. So the next day, when I took a look at this property in the morning, I wanted to see that this property basically had, $2,597 in revenue or around there. They had one room remaining, so it should have been a little bit less. But I wanted to see, I didn't want to see anything here that showed that they still had rooms remaining to sell. So the next day when I, checked my hotel, it showed this. The property actually only did 87% and it had 3 rooms remaining. So there's 4 rooms unaccounted for there. Okay. And that's why I'm doing this video. This happens all the time. There was a some type of misstep there with the property. And I'm going to show you guys how to circumvent this so it doesn't happen to you. Obviously, you can see this is a huge loss in revenues. You have, you were at negative 1 room here the night before. You needed a room. And then the next day, you actually didn't need that room, but you ended up with 3 extra rooms that you never sold at the property. So that is a huge loss in revenue. And let me show you guys things you can do to make sure that when you have people arrive into your hotel, that you can account for every arrival. And if they don't show up, what you can do about it. So first thing you can do, I'm in booking.com right here in the extranet for this property. And I want to show you guys a couple things you can do in order to eliminate this happening at your property. Because like I said, I see this more often than not, and it really bugs me. It's just a matter of going through particular steps. So one thing you can do is you can update your cancellation policies at your property to at least a 24-hour in advance cancellation. I'm going to show you why that's important in a second. So all you have to do in order to do that is you just go to property. You go to policies, and that's the page that I'm right now. I'm on the policy page, and you can see for this property, we have a flexible 1-day cancellation policy. So what it says here is the guest can cancel free of charge until 1 day before arrival. So that gives a hotel a 24-hour cushion to check reservations before, after they're guaranteed. The people are not allowed to cancel 24 hours prior to arrival. So when you wake up in the morning, when your desk clerks or your front desk staff comes in the morning at your property, this is where they need to go to. One of the first things they need to go to is all the arrivals, because all those arrivals should be guaranteed at this point, because this property has a 24-hour cancellation. If you do a 6 p.m. same-day cancellation or a 4 p.m. same-day cancellation, all the stuff I'm about to show you, you're going to have to hurry up and do it at 6 p.m. or 4 p.m., and it's a lot tougher to take care of. Most hotels have a 24-hour cancellation policy in place. Now, once you have this in place, every single morning, your front desk staff should go to the reservations right here, and they should look at your arrivals. And I'm on the 17th of March right here. And these are all the arrivals for the 17th of March for this property. As you can see, there's about 4 arrivals. And what your front desk staff should do, and not only do this in booking.com, but they should do it in Expedia, and they should start off by doing this in your PMS system. So if your PMS system, shows 6 arrivals, 4 from Booking.com, 2 from Expedia. You go here to your Booking.com, and then you go to Expedia for your Expedia arrivals. And Expedia is pretty easy to do. You should have the same cancellation policy in place. All you have to do in Expedia, all you have to do in Expedia is just go to the left-hand side here and go to reservations, and then just checking in. And you would just check the 17th here for Expedia, and then hit apply. And this would show all your reservations arriving on the 17th. And if you have any in your PMS system that may be booked directly through your website, obviously they're going to have to go through those too. So my point is, you want to go to all your arrivals. Once you go to your arrivals, you're going to have to click in. I'm just showing you for example purposes in Booking.com. Expedia works pretty much the same way. You go into the guest reservation. So let's take this person's reservation right here. Let me go to the 17th first. Here's the arrivals for the 17th through Booking.com. And I'm sorry, I went to the wrong screen before. So they got about 5 rooms arriving for the 17th. You would just go to this person here because it's the morning of the 17th, and you have a 24-hour cancellation policy. So you want to verify that this person's credit card details are valid. You want to make sure they put a valid credit card in there to hold the room. So you click on their reservation there, and in Booking.com, you can scroll down and you can view the credit card details. Now, I don't want to do this here because if you read below, it says you can view the credit card details 3 or more times within the next 9 days. So what that means is that you can't keep going in here and clicking in here and checking the credit card information. You can only go in here 3 times to check the credit card information. And then what you need to do when you check the credit card information is you need to verify it in your PMS system, through your credit card terminal, to make sure that that credit card is good. If it's a good credit card, you're good to go, okay? If it's not a good credit card, if the credit card fails to authorize, then you want to mark this credit card as invalid. Now, important thing to understand here when you mark a credit card invalid in Booking.com. It takes about 2 or 3 hours. What Booking.com is going to do is they're going to send an email to that guest, and they're going to tell that guest, hey, the credit card that you have reserved for your room is not a good card. Please give us a new card to avoid cancellation. What that guest has the opportunity to do is they have the opportunity to go ahead and get you credit card information within the next couple hours that's valid. That's why you want to do this in the morning first thing. You want to give yourself a cushion throughout the whole day. Once they get back to Booking.com, it's going to show in here, it's going to give you this information. You can go back in there and check the credit card again. If the credit card is no good, and they didn't get back to Booking.com, you can actually cancel this reservation. So what Booking.com is going to do is they're going to give you the ability to cancel this reservation at that point. They feel like they've given enough leeway to the guests. They've given the guests the opportunity, and they're not willing to put down a valid credit card, so you can cancel that card. Now, what happens, let me go back to my example here at the beginning. What happens if these were no-shows? We needed a room. We were 1 room negative for the hotel inventory, and the next day we had 3 rooms left. Let's say there were 4 no-shows for that day. That's very possible. There could have been 4 guests that no-showed to the property. What you want to do in that case, and let me show you guys what that looks like here. Let's go to the day before. So we're going to go to the 16th, okay? And let's say, for example, this first guest here, let's say this was a no-show from the day before. Let's say you on the 17th, your staff goes through, they check all the credit cards, they make sure that they're all good, but then they also know from the day before that they had an issue with the inventory where the inventory didn't match up to where it was the night before. So you go in and you find out that this particular reservation was a no-show. You click into their reservation, and you see this tab right here? It says mark as a no-show. You want to mark that reservation as a no-show. Now, you're not going to get paid for that if that credit card's no good. That's why it's important every morning, first thing, for yourself or your front desk clerks to go through and make sure that all the credit cards are good. That way, obviously you're showing that you've got all guests that are showing up have valid credit cards, but also if they don't show up, you can mark them as a no-show and you're going to get paid for that reservation. Very, very important. This is a lot of money sitting here. I mean, if you figure that, you would catch at least one of these a day times 365 days a year, obviously it ends up being a lot of money throughout the year. And I think this is where a lot of hotels miss out on revenue, is they don't pay attention to this part. And a lot of hotels have desk clerks or front desk staff that have idle time, that have more than enough time to do this. There's not a ton of arrivals coming in, and really you kind of need to do this a couple times a day. I mean, you should have your morning staff do this first thing to make sure that all the reservations have valid credit cards, but then you're going to have reservations that are made throughout the day, and your evening staff that comes in and works a night shift, those guys should be checking credit cards as well for people that make credit cards during the day. So this is something that needs to be kept up on. First thing in the morning is probably going to be the biggest task, but it needs to be kept up on throughout the day. Another policy you're going to want to make sure that's checked off in your extranets here in booking.com here. If I go to the property tab and go back to policies, we're on the policy tab here, and you scroll down, you want to update your pre-authorization preferences. And what you do here is you let booking.com know if you pre-authorize guest cards or not. Okay, so you're going to have to bring, obviously this hotel's up to date. They do pre-authorize credit cards prior to arrival for certain policy types. The policy type actually is a 24-hour cancellation policy. So they do. So you want to bring this up to speed. It's just about halfway down the page, right, or at the bottom of your policies. And if you want to create a 24-hour cancellation policy, you can do that right here. If you don't already have one set up for your property, right here, and create new cancellation. Or you can just edit one that you've already have set up. Okay. So basically, if you guys have an issue with your property where, you have, like in this example, you have the hotel sold out, it's no longer listed online, and the next morning you find out you had 3 rooms that you could have sold to the public online, but because of your, mismanagement of your guest arrivals, you missed out on revenue. And that, like I said, that can really, really add up. That's all I have for today, guys. If you like this video, please click the like button and share it with your friends and colleagues. I have more videos coming out. Subscribe to my channel. We'll see you guys soon.